Wow. You know, we've seen some pretty wild stuff cross our desks, but this time you really outdid yourself. Megalodon. Just saying the name kind of sends shivers down your spine, doesn't
It
it?
does. Megalodon. I mean, we're talking about the biggest shark to ever exist, if it were still around.
Exactly. And we're not just talking about a slightly bigger great white here. The stuff you dug up from Scifutura paints a picture of something truly monstrous.
Oh, yeah. This wasn't just a big fish. It was a straight-up prehistoric sea monster.
Seriously, they said it could get up to 60, maybe even 80 feet long. Longer than a city bus.
Can you imagine that thing cruising around in the ocean?
It's mind-blowing. And those teeth, 7 inches long,
Yeah.
like serrated daggers.
Yeah, they said its bite force was something like 180,000 newtons, enough to crush a car.
That's just insane. This thing was the king of the ocean for millions of years, from about 23 to 3.6 million years ago. They say it ate whales, dolphins, other sharks probably. Anything it wanted, really.
It was the apex predator, top of the food chain. Nothing else even came close.
And the big question Scifutura asks is, what if it never went extinct? What if it was still out there?
That's a question that'll keep you up at night.
It definitely makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about the ocean.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
how would our world, especially the oceans, look different if Megalodon was still around?
That's exactly what we're diving into today. What if Megalodon still ruled the waves?
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Well, first, we need to understand how this ultimate predator would impact the entire marine ecosystem. I mean, we're talking about a massive shift in the balance of power.
Oh, absolutely. Scifutura talked about how Megalodon would have a huge impact on populations of its prey. Whales, seals, dolphins, they'd all be under constant threat.
So it'd be like a natural population control, but on a massive scale.
Yeah, exactly. But you also have to think about the ripple effects. Scifutura made a really good point about biodiversity.
Right, like how would other marine life adapt to having this super predator around?
Exactly. Only the fastest, the sneakiest, the toughest would survive. And that would mean fewer species overall.
So the whole ocean would be reshaped by this one massive creature at the top.
Oh, absolutely. And don't forget about its appetite. Scifutura said this thing could eat up to 2,500 pounds of food a day.
Wait, 2,500 pounds a day? That's what, like 2 cows?
Yeah, or 10,000 hamburger patties every single day.
That's a crazy amount of food. Imagine the kind of feeding frenzy that would
It would be insane, like something out of a horror movie. Just imagine the carnage.
It's hard to even fathom, when you think about the potential impact on the oceans. What strikes you as the most significant change?
For me, it's how the whole food web would be affected. Like with fewer whales, there might be more krill. And more krill could mean more of the fish that eat krill. The whole balance would be thrown off. It's called a trophic cascade.
Wow, that's pretty intense. So the oceans would be a very different place. But what about us? How would humans adapt to living in a world with Megalodon?
Well, I think Scifutura put it best. Life on the edge. Especially for anyone who relies on the ocean.
Yeah, like fishermen. Can you imagine trying to fish with Megalodon lurking around?
It'd be a nightmare. Your boat could get destroyed, your catch could get stolen, you could even get attacked.
It'd be like fishing in a minefield.
Exactly. Fishermen would need tougher boats, stronger nets, maybe even completely different fishing techniques.
And forget about insurance. The premiums would be through the roof.
No doubt about it. Fishing would be a whole different game. Way more dangerous and way more expensive.
And it's not just fishing, right? What about global shipping? Imagine one of those giant container ships encountering a Megalodon.
The potential for collisions alone would be terrifying. Shipping routes would have to be rerouted to avoid Megalodon hotspots. Ships would need to be reinforced. Costs would go way up, and the risks would be insane.
Yeah, talk about a logistical nightmare.
Definitely. And then there are the beaches.
Oh no, don't even get me started on the beaches. Imagine trying to relax on the beach knowing that Megalodon might be patrolling the waters.
Right. And they said Megalodon might use shallow, warm waters as birthing grounds. The same places people like to swim and surf.
No way. That's terrifying.
It would completely change the beach experience. Swimming bans, shark patrols, warning signs everywhere. Forget about building sandcastles.
That's crazy. So no more beach vacations.
Well, Scifutura did mention a potential rise in Megalodon watching tours.
Wait, what? People would actually pay to go see Megalodon?
Hey, some people love that kind of thrill. It would be a whole new kind of tourism. High risk, high reward.
I can see it now. Swim with the Megalodon, but only if you dare.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be crazy popular.
But risky. And speaking of risk, imagine the scientific frenzy if Megalodon was still around. Scientists would be going nuts trying to study this
Oh,
thing.
yeah. It'd be a gold mine of information.
Yeah.
Imagine the research possibilities. We could learn so much about marine biology, evolution, even ancient ecosystems.
It'd be like having a living dinosaur.
Exactly. Plus, we'd need to figure out how to conserve them. Scifutura talked about the need for international treaties in protected areas.
Wow, yeah. That would be a huge challenge, trying to balance human needs with the survival of a giant prehistoric shark.
It would be a whole new era of ocean management with a lot of tough choices and difficult compromises.
Out of all these potential impacts on humanity, which one do you think would be the most significant?
I think it all comes down to our relationship with the ocean. If Megalodon was still alive, it would force us to rethink our place in the natural world. We'd have to acknowledge that we're not always at the top of the food chain.
That's a humbling thought, and it definitely makes you appreciate the power and mystery of the ocean. Speaking of mystery, let's talk about this idea that Megalodon might still be hiding in the deep sea, in the Mariana Trench or something.
Ah, yes, the classic deep-sea monster myth. It's a cool idea, but Sci-Futura was pretty clear.
Mm.
It's just not scientifically plausible.
So no chance of finding Megalodon lurking in the abyss.
I'm afraid not. Megalodon was a warm water predator. The deep sea is freezing, dark, and under immense pressure. It's just not a suitable habitat for a giant shark.
Yeah, that makes sense. And if it was down there, wouldn't we have found some evidence by now?
Exactly. No fresh megalodon teeth, no recent bite marks on whales, no sonar readings, no nothing. It's just not there.
Okay, so we can probably rule out the deep sea monster theory. But even though Megalodon is extinct, it still sparks our imagination, right?
Absolutely. As Scifutura said, megalodon would be a cultural phenomenon if it was still alive.
Like a real life Jaws, but way bigger.
Exactly. Hollywood would be churning out megalodon movies. We'd have megalodon documentaries, megalodon video games, you name it.
There'd be Megalodon-themed amusement parks. And can you imagine the coastal legends that would spring up?
Oh, yeah. Every seaside town would have its own megalodon stories and myths.
It'd be like the Kraken all over again. But even just the scientific implications are mind-blowing. The research possibilities would be endless.
It would revolutionize marine biology. We could learn so much about these ancient creatures, their behavior, their evolution, even their impact on the environment.
It'd be like opening a window into the past.
Exactly. And the challenges of conserving them would be immense. We'd have to completely rethink our approach to ocean management.
Global cooperation, protected areas, strict regulations. It'd be a whole new ballgame.
It would be a monumental task, but it would also be an incredible opportunity to learn and to protect a truly unique and awe-inspiring species.
It makes you realize that even in extinction, Megalodon still has a lot to teach us. Those fossilized teeth are like a message from the past.
They remind us of the power of nature and the fragility of life. And they make us wonder, what other secrets are still hidden in the depths of the ocean?
So, our deep dive into a world with Megalodon has been a wild ride. It's made us rethink everything from the ocean ecosystem to our own place in the natural world.
It really makes you appreciate the delicate balance of life and the incredible power of evolution.
And it leaves us with some big questions to ponder. Like, what does it truly mean to coexist with creatures that are so much bigger and more powerful than us? What would it take to share our world with a giant like Megalodon?
It's a question we may never know the answer to, but it's definitely worth thinking about.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Megalodon. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep your eyes on the ocean. You never know what you might find.